All right. So basically, we went over 5.1. She gave us new books, but the chapter 5 or module 5 is also in our quarter 2 book. So you still have it, and we have a homework quiz on the 5.1 RSGs tomorrow when we come back, and we have a test next Tuesday on the 16th. Basically, what she went over was what a cross section was, and I'll explain that in a little bit. And she just went over the RSGs with us and what we need to do. So she gave us the equation. So for the perimeter for a rectangle, you just add all sides. For the area, it's length times width, and volume is length, width times height. And then she also gave us to find the circumference equation, which is just 2 pi r, and r being the radius, and the radius is, well, it gives it to you here, but like say it gives you the diameter, you just have to divide it by 2, and pretty much everything else here, it gives you an equation. So here she told us just to search it up. She somewhat went over it with us for a little bit, but she told us it'd just be better if we searched it up because it'd be easier, because of what a cross section is. So when I get to that, also you'll know what I'm talking about. She gave us the equation for the area of a triangle, which is 1 divided by 2 times b times h, b being the base and h being the height. She helped us with this one. She said this one's the base because it extends all the way, and this is the height because it's the highest point. For this one, this line could be your height, but she just told us that the height and the base have to be perpendicular, or is it perpendicular? I don't remember, but I think when it's like a T, I don't remember how to pronounce it. Anyways, so she said here, since that's like the highest point, that would be your H, and the E to G would be your base. Like all of you, she said that it's the E to G, like these 3 share them. And then for this one, it's also E to G. But she said because they're not easy to count, like these lines here, we would have to make a right triangle here. And then we would use the equation a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And if you remember, either this side could be a or b, and this side could be a or b again. And you just plug in these numbers here into this equation. And don't forget to square it. And you get your answer for what this side is going to be. But you still need to square root it because you can't have a square with, say, like 72. Or the answer, say your answer was 72 for like this side right here. That would be too much, so you would need to square root it, and then that would be your answer for this. And then you would do the same for this side here. Then once you get those answers, then you would go back and use this equation here to get this side and this side, right? That's what this equation was for. And then by going back to that equation, you get your answer. Now, a cross section is pretty much when you cut. It's very visual. She didn't use any visuals, but I'm going to try to use a visual since I was eating an orange earlier. Basically, you have this orange, right? And say you were to slice it right down the middle, it would be a circle, right? So it'd be like this. That's what you would see. The face of it is the cross section. So say I was to cut this like this, as I did here, and ate it. This is your shape, and it's like, it looks like a right triangle, right? So that would be your cross section. So here, when it's asking you what would be the shape of your cross section, you would just say the face. So here it's like a triangle. She just showed us more examples, like this one right here. So you were to cut the cube diagonal, like the shaded part here. This shaded part here is a rectangle, right? So then that would be your cross section, pretty much. And then she also, like here's some notes, but it's kind of sloppy, and I figured a video would be better. So like if you see right here, this circled part, that would be your cross section. That would be like the part that you cut off. Here also, the part that you cut off. Think of like, another example is like a piece of cake. when you cut the cake and you put your fork into it, that piece that you took off with the fork, the shape that the fork made in the cake would be your cross section. She said she was going to try to get the video up, but most likely not, because she said that it was pretty much just her explaining it. If she does get the video, she says she wasn't going to solve it for you. Oh, for the ready, she said not to do 5, so you don't have to worry about that one. That's all I can think of. If you have questions, I guess you could call me or something.